thinking about the dichotomy between what people say and what they don't say. I've been told that President Biden was the most pro-union labor person in, well, since the 1930s. Then I'm told that Democrats didn't talk to the working class people. They lost the vote. So how do these two things go together? Somebody answered that for me. Then I'm thinking that we're stating that Black men crossed over to Trump for a small percentage. But I'm wondering how many white people could have crossed over if they had chosen to. It's not the Black population. The Black men and women will always vote for an interest that propels the Union toward a more better place, period. No matter who's running in office. That's the thrust. I don't ever see that with the white community. I've never witnessed in the last several decades 50% of white women voting for Democrats. It's always less. I've never seen 50% of white men voting for Democrats. Never, ever. So until one other point, when you look at a crowd for Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump, what do you see? You see the race issue. That's what I'm trying to tell everybody. It has nothing to do with Palestine and the Gaza. It has nothing to do with who has a job or not. It has nothing to do with the price of eggs. The price of eggs is the same for me as it was for a lot of other people. But the price of eggs didn't make me vote against something that was even better. So can I take an hour? Because there's so much on my mind. I don't see us getting better. That's the pain that I have. I see us getting worse. You're talking about the Trump and the how he lures, really. He has this magic power that nobody else has. Well, I think that's a lot of bull. He does not. People take from him what they want. And part of what they take from him is what they're trying to take away from me and people who are not who are not white. Let's face it, race has always in the history of the United States of America played a huge role as to what we can accomplish and what we can't. Until we can address that, until we can talk about it and stop beating around the bush about it. Well, he didn't do this. Well, neither did Trump. She didn't do this. Well, neither did Trump. Even worse. So it's about more than what statistics tell you. I didn't hear anybody tell me that on not just this program or any magazine, any reading, that the Black community is out of touch with reality, that the Black community wants things that are just impossible to have. You know what we want? Just a good, common, decent conversation. And you go to the polls and vote. Well, you know what? I think this is da 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 because of this. Not because of Trump, what Trump said. We all know what Trump is. All of us. Those who voted for him and those who did not. We know who he is. And you
Mhm.
can't tell me that because you're young or you're old or you're this or you're that, that you don't know. You voted for a pile of I don't know what. And he's going to give it to us, all of us, those who don't deserve it and those who do. And so, no, I won't take an hour, but
You're hot today.
I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that with all of the years of doing what you guys are doing, trying to pull us forward, trying to bring us to a better place, we're still worse than what we had before. And you
Mhm.
talk about the him releasing all of the criminals. Well, throughout
Yeah.
my lifetime, criminals have been released for worse things than that. But hanging men from the oak trees or whatever the trees were, for letting prisoners go who committed horrible crimes. Jury found them not guilty. And that's centuries. That's centuries. I'm talking about centuries of just omitting violent, violent people being free to just roam the earth to do it one more day. So, but yeah, yeah. I'm
Thank
gonna
No, thank you, Miss Margaret. I think all in the room, I can't think of a better way to bring us back, as we say, to the really reality in America. And, we're going to move forward in this, and we have to stick. The only thing we do right now is just stick together in these places, because it's going to get ugly.
absolutely.
It's
And that's
going to,
why I'm with you. That's why I'm with this group.
I know, I love you. Thank you. I
so
love the room.
thank you, Miss Margaret. This is exactly right. And I wanted to just say something, and I'm just going to have to say it. So as I said earlier, I've been trying to figure out my lane. Where is it that I'm going to be? And I don't typically listen to Charlemagne the God because I don't like him. But last night he was on the Daily Show, and he sort of helped me confirm my thoughts about how I was thinking about all of this. And I had been talking to Robin, and we've been talking, and Rachel Maddow helped me too. And what I saw was the fact that we always seem to turn the other cheek. And I'm not saying the lane is for everybody, but what I'm saying is that there are going to be different routes that we're going to have to take in order to let people hear us, because we're going to go where they are. Like the lady who says, if I don't go low, they won't hear what I have to say. So it won't be for all of us, but we have to decide how we're going to talk to people. And one of the things that Rachel Maddow said yesterday when I was listening to her, and I actually didn't, I saw it on YouTube, is that Republicans are ashamed of what is happening. Not all of them, but many of them are ashamed. When you talk about some of the things that are happening, they run away as fast as they can. They just, because they just are there. And we have to keep putting it to them. We have to keep putting it to them, our friends and family and people who are our acquaintances, that we have not been brave enough to say, what you've done is vicious and wrong. The thing that you're doing is wrong. It's awful. It is cruel. Use the language that they use to talk it back and give it back to them. And then Charlemagne the God yesterday, which I listened to him, and I was so happy to find that I think I'm going to get to my lane, because what he said was, people have been struggling about whether or not we should have gone to this election, whether they should have went to the inauguration. And maybe they should or shouldn't have. But what he said was, Trump didn't even go to Biden's inauguration. He didn't even go. And we have all these people are like, where we can work together, we're going to work together. What did Mitch McConnell say for Obama? And what did he say? He said, I'm going to spend every single day making sure you're a one-term president. What did the crazy woman say? What did she say? She said, I'm going to impeach you the very first day. And so we have to find our voices, and our voices cannot be weak. They must be loud, and they must push back. And we can tell our story without being wimpy, and we can hold people accountable with our words the best we can. And so with that, the little quote that I have to, the little quote that I have for us today is, think big, think disruptive, and execute with passion. That's all.
That's all. Well, thank you, Miss Margaret. Thank you, everybody. Remember, next week, we continue the show, and there's a lot to think about today. So I'm just going to let us dance out and think. With greed, it don't take too much IQ to see what you do.